Welcome back! You look concerned.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Beast Machines Monday. Yes. I am your host, Decepticon Doug.
And I'm your other host,
Predacon Paul.
that guy. Today's episode is called
In Darkest Night.
So today's episode is In the Darkest Night.
And as night like Knigget.
You and all your silly English kniggets.
Do you know who the Darkest Night is? The avatar of evil and terror?
The Batman.
This episode starts with Night Scream on the prowl for a very noble bot.
Well, I might even say not a bot at all, because he's some sort of flesh being.
He's a flesh thing.
Yeah, so,
there's still two fleshes there, you know, fleshing it up, being all fleshy.
yeah, you know, like two flesh become one.
Yeah.
Like the Spice Girls song, Two Become One.
Yeah.
And so, basically, Noble
Two becomes one.
And
I wanted to become one with the Spice Girls at one point.
We all did.
When I was like
We all did.
14, I think. No, not even 14. That would have been high school.
Circa 96, I want to say,
Okay.
when they were at the biggest. Or
When I was like 11, 96,
97, right in there. Yeah, so...
they had me feeling some kind of way. Okay, so two fleshes are about to become one. And Night Scream is clearly on the case. Because they were best friends. And they went way back. Remember that time that they went way back?
Okay, yeah, remember that time he was like, Noble!
And he was like...
And then
he shot a fireball.
But Noble!
Noble's sitting there off in his own little world, remembering that time that he was like... And then he was like...
Noble!
Yeah, that was... Oh, man. That got me right here.
Rattrap is working on a gizmo. Blackarachnia sneaks up behind him and he's like, ugh! And she's like, hey, chill out. I'm just a giant spider sneaking up behind you. It's okay.
Yeah, dropping from the ceiling.
Yeah, like, what's the big deal? Can you imagine, like, just a spider?
No, I don't want to imagine.
I know. Rattrap's like, I'm making a gizmo. What it does is it extracts sparks, but also does stuff. We're hoping to free the sparks and figure out what to do with them when we do manage to liberate them from Megatron.
And it has a scanning device that scans for beast forms.
Yeah, it's sort of like with the stasis pods, what they would do.
Yeah.
So then Cheetor and Optimus come in, and Optimus is like, yes, good job, Rattrap. And, hey, wait a minute, where's Ice Cream?
And then he's like, oh, he's been gone for 3 megacycles.
And then they're like, okay, well, we better go find him.
Then
But
the
yeah.
Decepticons approach. And they're like, hey, we don't like you. And he's like, I thought we were frenemies. And they're like, no, I'll never be a frenemy with you.
We're back in business because we got a giant head floating above us. That's all we need to beat you guys up.
So they drag him off. And he's all like, oh no. And then they transition by zooming into his mouth.
Yeah, I gotta say, most awkward transition award goes to...
It's like they constructed that scene specifically for that transition. Because they were dragging him off, and then they cut to him falling off the building, and it was just a very awkward, it felt like it was shoehorned in. And
so,
like the director
yeah.
was like, and then we're going to zoom into his mouth because this is an artsy piece here that we're working on, and people are going to talk about it for decades. And his artistic vision didn't quite line up.
Now the Maximals, they see that Night Scream is in trouble. They look down, and the motorcycles are going around, circles around him.
Yeah, just circling him.
They're probably making him very dizzy.
Yeah, they're like, how many do you see? And he's like, there are 4 bikes.
There are 4 bikes.
Writing credit, Jetstorm, Jamie.
Yeah. Jetstorm, yeah. He's like, well, I'm going to be a bad guy again, and I'm going to chase you down.
And I'm going to say all kinds of things, like, I'm going to get ya.
Then Megatron's head comes in, and he's like, hello, everybody, it's me, Megatron's head. And they're like, how did we miss that coming in? I mean, I just feel like we would have known that, but he's a sneaky head. What can you say?
Well, that, and as I think you so eloquently pointed out, that the music was too loud.
That's true, yeah. I mean, when you start blaring up that techno, you're not gonna... You hear? You're not gonna hear that head coming in. It's just a drone, like. But you know, you get lost in the beat.
You're too busy fighting and dodging and flying around like this.
There was more flying around. There was more of the Cheetor flying around,
which was it continues to be my favorite part.
Megatron sneaks up on them, as he often does as a giant head, and he captures Optimus like aliens capturing cows. And
uses a tractor beam.
Yeah. And Cheetor's like, I'll get you. And then he jumps in the beam and he's like, actually,
this was a bad idea.
That was a dumb idea.
Yeah. And they both get sucked in and then off he goes.
Blackarachnia is like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to sneak Jetstorm off.
She taunts him and then she's like, oh, I bet you can't catch me. And he's like, whoa, ho, ho. Do you double dare me? She's like, I triple dare you. He was like, do you triple dog dare? And he was like, I triple dog, bird dog dare you. And he was like, holy crap. And then she runs off and he goes after her.
Once there's a bird dog dare, there's something triggers in him and he's like, oh, I gotta chase that.
It's like chasing a ball. And then off they go. And then Thrust is all like, and then Ice Cream goes down.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna beat you up. And then luckily,
his best friend, right?
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Noble! But actually, it's the dragon version, so I guess Savage.
Savage! Jumps in and he's like, I got your back with my tail.
And then Thrust goes, ouch. And then the Savage drags him off. And the only ones that's standing in the battle is the unarmed Rat Trap. He's like, well, I guess I'll go save the kid, because he's probably the most helpless.
He's a rat. He's a flying rat.
Yeah,
he's a bat.
They have a lot to talk about.
Best friends.
They rhyme. Much. So, at the very least, they can talk about what it's like to have AT as the second and third letters, respectively, of their beast modes.
Which is like a topic for conversation, I think, that comes up a lot more often than people realize.
Yeah, that's how I connect with other humans. I'm like, wait a minute, you're a human. Did you know that human is spelled Human? And they're like,
that's how we met. I was like, no,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
my name is spelled Paul,
and I like my name also 4 letters, unless you go for the full version. But I usually go by Doug, Doug.
And then best friends ever since. And then we cut to inside the giant floating head, and Megatron's like, I'm gonna extract codes.
I'm gonna extract the info of the Oracle, and it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna die.
I deduce that it will be very painful, and you will most likely expire. Do they even say anything?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, they're just covered in red.
Yeah, Cheetor and Optimus, they don't know what to do at this point, so they just start talking about how to spell their animal names. Down in the sewer areas, Jetstorm is chasing after Blackarachnia, and she catches him in a web and slaps
green web.
Of course, a green web. That's the most important kind of web.
I miss the days of the blue web.
I do like. You know what? Actually, I do like the blue webs. The old stasis web where Tarantulas was going to eat Cheetor alive.
Yeah.
So she puts on this spark extractor DNA scanny thingy, and he crashes into the organic goop. Because they luckily flew into that room with the organic goop. Then he starts to transform and he's like, ah! And she's like, don't fight it, eh? One commercial break later.
He turns into a vulture turkey.
But yes, this hideous looking, big-eyed, nasty-ass condor or something. I do like turkey vulture, actually. They really just kind of look like that. And he's like, oh, don't look at me. She's like, Silverbolt. It's me.
I love you for who you are, not what you look like. And he's like, I'm hideous. It's like, dude, you were a bird dog before. You were an abomination. Now at least you're still hideous.
You gotta admit though, wolves and eagles, very majestic creatures.
Very cool. I love his design.
Yeah. But like this.
But I just mean like he was an affront to nature.
Yeah, no, right? Just like Donkey and the dragon from Shrek.
Yeah.
They're like, why do they breed? Ah!
Look at our little mutant babies.
Come on, man. You're a turkey vulture. Yeah.
To be fair though, he's very hideous.
Is he ever?
Yeah, it is probably one of the ugliest designs of the show.
And what's funny is he doesn't even get a chance to see himself before he just declares, I'm hideous.
To be fair to the show, it is an improvement over that toy. That toy is horrible. I think there's not really much of the way that goes on in the inside Megatron. He just more or less keeps taunting Optimus until...
He's like, I'm going to extract stuff. I'm going to extract stuff.
We just wanted to remind the audience that this story is taking place.
And then Silverbolt's like, oh, I'm going to brood and I'm going to leave because I'm hideous. Blackarachnia's like, no, we should go to the floaty head and rescue Optimus and Cheetor. And then he's like, yes, let's go to the floaty head for revenge.
And then she grabs onto his feathers sticking out of his head. She's like, yeah, and rides him like Falcor in the Neverending Story. Rattrap finds Night Scream, and he's like, let's get out of here. And Night Scream's like, but my friend, Noble.
He gave me apples that were made of metal.
He gave me delicious metallic apples. I always thought that Cybertronians ate Energon. But then when they ate the organic apples, they went crazy. But I guess metallic apples are okay.
Bean sprouts make you fart.
That's what I hear. Ratchet's like, well, we should go anyway. And then Night Scream's like, okay. So Silverbolt and Blackarachnia show up inside Megatron's head.
Well, first there's a probe droid thing that sees them, and then it goes to run away. And then as she throws her ninja star of web, cuts it in half, and then like 12 more show up. And then a door opens, they go into the room.
Right.
And then like Megatron's like, ha ha ha.
They're like, hey, Megatron, don't kill Optimus. It's not nice. Basically, there's a little bit of back and forth between Megatron and Blackarachnia. You know, Megatron's like, I gave you purpose, I gave you freedom. And she's like, he gave you nothing but slavery, and I gave you love. Love.
Which is clearly a Blackarachnia thing to say.
Yeah. Anyways, he transforms because he didn't need to learn how to do that this time around.
Because apparently you can just do it now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the plot's got to move, right? He starts throwing his little feather missiles at all the pipes and stuff, and then Megatron's like, oh!
He blows up the same pipe like 4 times. And what happens? Yeah. There's an explosion and the pipe just falls out of the wall. He doesn't sever the pipe. There's no explosion. Nothing breaks. He just hits the pipe. There's an explosion animation and it falls like 12 times.
Yeah. Then it releases Optimus and Cheetor, and then they're like, let's go. And so they do. You know, really, if they were on a roll, they could have finished the job. You know,
finish shooting the giant head from inside.
Yeah, just blast it to pieces. You know, like you're happening. Megatron's not able to stop you. You know, it's
rip it to shreds and then blast the shreds to pieces.
And then
double tap.
And anyways, they leave, and then Cheetor's like, wait a minute, we still have one more storyline to wrap up. So they go to meet up with Night Scream and Rattrap. So they do, and Thrust is there. He's like, I'm Thrust, and I'm unstoppable.
He's like, hey, Jetstorm, I need you, buddy, old pal, old friend. I need your support. You're the one I come to rely on when I'm hanging off the edge of a cliff.
And every time, I get lonely, you were there for me, and you really got me through this dark time in my life. And Silverbolt comes up, he's like...
So he chokes him first, and then he hurls him.
Yes, true, yes. He just chokes him out. He's like, I'm good now. Die! And Savage goes off to do his own thing, and Night Scream's like, I gotta go save my friend, Noble! And then Optimus is like, look, just when he's ready, he'll come to you. Which is Optimus, like, boss speak for just sit at home, shut up, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Stop getting yourself into wacky adventures, okay, kid?
Yeah.
Quit monkeying around.
That's my job as the boss. And the monkey.
And then Silverbolt's like, I will never join you again, because I'm too evil. I'm too dark. I'm too brooding.
Him and Blackarachnia are even having a moment after the fact, and he's like, the problem is not that Megatron made me do it, but that I liked it.
Oh no.
And Blackarachnia's like, oh really? You like being evil? I can't relate to that.
You were evil once, and you liked it? We're done. She walked away from him.
them all!
Because she was always a paragon of virtue.
How is a horrible, hideous beast like you, Silverbolt, ever gonna live up to the golden standard that is Blackarachnia, the world's sweetest spider? It's not gonna happen. Sorry, buddy.
You're kind of punching above your weight class here.
There's only one female in Cybertron, and you blew it. The end.
And that was it. That was the episode.
I guess I'll just be a Maximal again. I mean, what else have you got going on anyway? You know, what are you gonna do?
You just hurled one of the Predacons or
Viacons
off the side of a cliff thing.
So, yeah. Okay, so, Predacon Paul.
Yes, Decepticon Doug.
What worked for you?
What worked for me? That is a good question. What worked for me? What worked for you?
Okay. I'm glad that the Silverbolt storyline is finally moving forward. There's been a lot of teasing for a long time about the fact that Jetstorm is Silverbolt, and I'm just ready to move on. And now Jetstorm is properly Silverbolt. I will miss Jetstorm, actually.
Me too.
Because
Brian Drummond is amazing.
He was one of the most fun characters in the show.
He's absolutely the most fun.
Actually, yeah, he probably is the most fun. I can't think of anyone who's up there with him. So I'm gonna miss Jetstorm. Rest in peace, Jetstorm. But the story needed to move along. And as such, I do like Blackarachnia and the fact that she is pursuing this, and she's got things figured out pretty good.
I feel like the show can't decide what it wants its message to be when it comes to what Blackarachnia just did. She just deleted an entire person.
Yeah.
Remember, they Tankor, Rhinox, that whole conundrum, and then Optimus decided that he was going to allow him to make a choice for himself.
Right.
And then Rhinox ultimately decided that he was happier as Tankor. And
yeah,
so,
but he did awaken Rhinox, and Rhinox made the choice. Where this one, Silverbolt was still dormant, and she pulled Silverbolt out. I guess he didn't really have the choice in the same way that Rhinox did, because his whole body was transformed. And wait a minute, how did he get reformatted?
that was going to be my big question. The green goop?
The green goop, does that because like they...
I was going to touch on that, on things that maybe didn't quite work.
Okay. Well, I guess we're getting into it now. Is that, yeah, that's a good point.
He fell into the thing, and then they scanned.
And then, like, a Night Scream originally, when they found him, was a fully organic bat. Well, I mean, the exterior was fully organic. And he couldn't transform, but he wasn't techno-organic. So they kind of skipped over the reformatting to turn him techno-organic. And I didn't notice that before, and now I just figured that unless, but I don't think they implicitly said unless there's something in the device from Rat Trap.
It had to be a mixture of the device and that green slime stuff.
Yeah, the organic core.
Because he was in it, and then it sort of that I'm not too clear on. But he would be the first to be transformed fully from a Viacon. Did she plan for him to fall into the green goop?
Maybe she knew where the green goop was, but it didn't. It did seem more coincidental. And there's another C word that we pull out every now and then. That's not just coincidental. If something's too coincidental, then we can call it sometimes contrived.
Just to jump on that, I really did like that Blackarachnia, even though I think it kind of flies in the face of the message that the show was trying to say with Optimus giving Rhinox a choice. I do like the fact that she is sort of on her own little mission, and she's determined to win her love back. All jokes and the poking fun at her character aside and everything, she was driven, and she knew what she wanted, and she fought for it, so I really like that. But again, she played it really close to the chest. She didn't tell anybody what she was planning.
Yeah.
And she saw that he had a device thing, figured out how it worked, and was like, ooh, this is an opportunity. And she just went for it. That's actually true to her character, which is actually really nice. I like that.
Yeah, true.
She puts her talents for deception and subterfuge to good work, but for good.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's kind of nice that it is really true to her character. So I like that. Not a huge fan of the whole but I love you stuff, but I mean, that to me seems out of character. I like that she is kind of irritated that she's in love with this goofy, heroic person. She shoots him in the leg, and you shot me. It's well, I warned you. Right?
Yeah.
But you made sure it wouldn't be a mortal wound. She's like, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot. And he's like, okay. And so there's that. We're missing that spark.
Yeah, there's a grit that's of her that is a little bit lost, and I feel like that's been the case since she turned into a Maximal properly.
Yeah, she kind of softened up, even the way her lines are delivered.
No, she isn't quite the Blackarachnia that she was, but you do see traces of that in her for sure. Mm-hmm. And she is still one of the most competent fighters. I mean, she's kind of the only one her and Ratchet are the only ones who didn't like get captured.
Why did Megatron just capture them and then just fly away? And then he only had 2 Viacons, one of which didn't even have any fighter jets with him. It was just him.
He had a couple.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Then remember Cheetor was flying away from them.
Right.
Yeah. But then there was like only a few.
They have an army of these things, and they.
Yeah, I don't know.
The last time we got a glimpse into Silverbolt, what was he like?
Now that is something that's worth noting, is that when we did get that brief moment of Silverbolt being Silverbolt, and that episode with Waspinator making his guest appearance too. He was very just Silverbolt. He was just the classic, dark poison of my heart. Yeah. Yeah. So that
she's like, there's only one person who can say something so lame, you know.
Yeah.
And even she was just like, oh, it's you again. But like, yay, you know. And then here he gets turned into a turkey vulture. Hideous, yes. I enjoyed it. Did you not enjoy it before, or did you just have this realization now? Why does it feel like this is coming all the way from left field?
It does kind of feel like when they wrote that last episode, they didn't know how they wanted to do his character when he came out of it.
It's like, what did you do? All you did was chase the Maximals. That's it. They literally pulled your spark out of the ground, and Megatron was like, that goes into a fighter jet, this goes into a motorcycle, this goes into a tank. Get the Maximals. And he's like, oh,
yeah,
evil.
It would be one thing if Megatron pulled him out before the Maximals were there,
and they were shooting orphans,
and they were helping with the atrocities committed on Cybertron. But it was established that he pulled those sparks out. They gave his sparks to the generals, and then they continued to not succeed at defeating the Maximals,
or even land a serious hit.
So what does he feel guilty about?
Was a Predacon 2 once. I'm getting flashes of this, and I haven't let it go. And here we come, full circle. I enjoyed it. Oh, shut up. Grow up.
No, but I mean, one of the things is that's different is that
he's a turkey vulture.
Yeah. In Beast Wars, I mean, we joke about it. He really didn't mention it that much, but he did kind of mention it in some stupid moments where he's like, "I was a Predacon once. You gave me a chance." I'm like, "Well, come on, shut up. You didn't do anything.
You were innocent, and you were a Predacon by activation code for all of 10 minutes, whereas Dinobot, the person who you're speaking up for, was born a Predacon and has done terrible things." And is a warrior that kills people.
And blatantly betrayed his friends.
In both camps.
So this time, the difference is that he's actually Mopey. He's now the joke version that we had.
I didn't realize it was gonna.
The thing that we were poking fun at this whole time in Beast Wars of oh, his dark past. Now suddenly it actually has solidified and become a real thing, and I don't know. I can't help but feel partially responsible.
Oops.
Oh no! What have we done?
We created a monster. A monster so hideous he can't even look at himself in the mirror. Because
ultimately, Silverbolt in Beast Wars was very fun and very silly
and virtuous,
and he was a really funny character.
If Captain America was a Transformer,
yeah,
he'd be Silverbolt.
Yeah, but dumber.
Yeah, I guess Captain America's more Optimus Primal.
Yeah, but
Superman. Nah.
He's got those virtues, but he's just dumb.
He's he's a silly version of those virtues all rolled into one.
Yeah. Now he's just kind of become that parody version that we made, where he's like, oh, my dark past. Oh, we'll have to see how this plays out. Maybe Silverbolt will find his chill as the series goes on. I don't know.
Hopefully, he's a little too edgy for my taste.
Too many edgelords. I mean, we already had Night Scream, eh?
We got Mr. Blue.
Yeah. On the subject of Night Scream, because I guess we're transitioning to things that obviously don't work for us. Just I don't know. The Noble storyline is not doing it for me.
If I were Noble, I'd be like, look, we are not there yet. Okay? Let me go do my thing.
It's very one note
And then he's like eating apples.
He's just for 3 episodes now. He's been chasing this creature, going like, "Be my friend," and hopefully he listens to Optimus, who wants to put a pause on this and be like, "Okay, that's enough ice cream. We got to do some other things now." Okay.
And Megatron now has decided, today's the day I'm going to go after the access codes for the Oracle.
That whole storyline felt very disposable. Like, what can we do to make it so that Silverbolt has to confront Megatron at the end of this? Oh, they have to rescue Optimus and Cheetor.
Why in a tractor beam?
Why are Optimus and Cheetor there? Well, I guess Megatron abducted them. Why did he abduct them? Well, I guess because he wanted access codes. Okay, good enough. And I think that's just what this storyline felt to me.
Yeah.
And because, like, ultimately nothing happened. Ultimately, like, they just spent the whole episode is like, okay, they're in stasis there.
I feel like I'm being way too critical on this episode. Am I being too harsh?
Maybe it just needed less, Like, if they could just kind of focus on the Blackarachnia Silverbolt storyline and just kind of just make that the episode. Maybe that's what it needed.
They didn't need everything else. It would have been simple enough for her to just go rogue, right? Mm-hmm. Do her thing, put herself in a position where she is now against Megatron and the Viacons by herself, even though we've already established they're no threat.
But you could believe it more if she was by herself rather than all the Maxwells being there and then be like, oh, Viacons.
Oh no. Yeah. And then Silverbolt is forced to overcome his Viacon nature to rescue her because those feelings don't just go away. That could have been his reason for fighting against Megatron instead of just coming up with and he's brooding because of the evil that he did.
I appreciate that what they're trying to do is they're trying to give his character stakes and a storyline and somewhere to go. It's hard to justify getting the character that we knew as Silverbolt to this point. I mean, even if there was a reason for it, you also kind of have to admit it's kind of obnoxious too. Like just hearing him go like, "Oh, I'm so evil."
We are going to give this episode
In Darkest Night 1.5 out of 5 Feather Kunai.
Not a great episode. Not a horrible episode.
I mean, 1.5 is a pretty bad score.
It is pretty bad. Look,
yeah.
I kind of feel like Don Corleone was like, "They massacred my boy." Like my poor Silverbolt got massacred.
Yeah, no one messes up Silverbolt but us.
Yeah.
He was our boy to make fun of.
We're there, okay? We're there with Silverbolt, not you.
We're glad that he's back. Or are we? Are we glad he's back?
He's not back, though.
Okay, maybe we're not glad.
Because he's not Silverbolt.
So I guess that is ultimately the problem is that there's 2 stories that don't really do anything and 1 story that doesn't exactly take the character where we wanted him to be. And thus 1.5. What do you think of In Darkest Night? Please let us know in the comments down below.
Am I being a negative Nancy? Please be honest, because I feel like maybe I'm being a little too harsh.
Obviously, Beast Machines is a show that has its fans. So, hey, man, where are you at, fans? Talk to us. We want to hear you. Thank you so much for watching Beast Machines Monday. We'll see you next time.
And tell your mom.
Not every idea is a good idea.
No, but not every idea is bad either. Just most of them when it comes to Beast Machine.